Hi and welcome to this new video of logo books. My name is Christoph and today I have this small book for you which is called Logo R.I.P and it is edited by the Stone Twins. Now I have to be honest with you, I was very skeptical towards this book because I thought that this book was just a book with an interesting title and without any good content. Now I'm here for you guys to show you if my thoughts were correct or not, but let's just start with the book and we'll see how this ends. Now on the cover here you can see that there is written a small line and it immediately also tells you what this book is about. There is written that this book is about dead logo types. So this book only shows you logos that aren't used any longer or the companies don't exist anymore. So this could be interesting. So let's take a look at it. So we first see the content, the foreword, which was written by Gert Dunbar from Studio Dunbar in the Netherlands. We get an introduction and then the weirdness of this book starts. What we can see is a logo on a grave. So it really explains the title, Logo R.I.P. Well, the logos are buried and we see that this book is a book with 50 logos shown on graves. Now, when I saw this, I thought that my idea of this book was correct. Just a book with a nice title, without, well, very good content. It's a funny and interesting idea because it looks like the logos or the companies are physically buried, but yeah, that's it. There isn't really any content. At least that is what I thought, because when you go further in the book you see that the black pages become or turn into white pages, if I can say it like that. And this is also where the interesting part of the book starts, because all the logos that are shown on these black pages, I'll show you. So these logos are repeated on the white pages, and you see here a little bit of text, and the text explains what the logo is about or why the logo was created. So things become very interesting here, because as a designer I think you should always create a logo with an idea behind it. So you should tell something with your logo, and that is what we can see here. We can see the idea, or we can read the idea behind the logo. So that is very interesting, because most of logo books these days only contain, well, pretty symbols without any explanation. Now I would like to talk about two symbols, and the first symbol is the swastika. So I know that the swastika has a heavy load, a heavy message, but I don't want to talk about the political usage of it or the bad things that happened during that time, but I purely want to talk about the shape of the logo, but I also want to talk about the history of the logo, but because that is what makes the symbol so interesting. Now, if we just look at the shapes of the logo, I just want to say real quick that the way it's designed, so purely the shapes, I'm not talking about the message that we relate with it these days, but purely the shape, I believe that it's a very strong and recognizable symbol. That's what I'm going to say about the symbol, but the interesting part is the story or the history behind it. I'm just going to read for you guys to make it a bit easier and to make it go a little bit faster. So the explanation says that This symbol was found on Byzantine buildings, Buddhist inscriptions, Celtic monuments and Greek coins. Although the course of 3,000 years, it represented life, sun, power, strength and good luck. Even in the early 20th century, the swastika or the hooked cross was a largely benign emblem used innocently as a decorative motif to signify good fortune and well-being. It was frequently used on cigarette cases, postcards, coins and buildings, and during World War I, the swastika was found on the shoulder patches of the American 45th Infantry Division and right up until the mid-30s, Carlsberg etched it onto the bottoms of their beer bottles. So it's very mind-blowing if you didn't know this, because the meaning that it had before World War II is completely different from, well, what most of us represent or relate this logo with. So what I want to say or show you guys is that it can be very interesting how a symbol is ripped out of its original usage and content and is used to represent something different. So a logo or a symbol can represent multiple things, and in this case very contradictory things. And here in the text in bold, it becomes even more, well, shocking is not the correct word, but the bold text says that Buddhists and Hindus still commonly employ the swastika, although it's used in a counterclockwise way, but it is used as a religious symbol. So it's very contradictory, but that is what makes it very interesting. Now let's go to the second symbol, or the second logo that I want to talk about, which is the logo that was created by Lance Wyman for the Olympic Games of Mexico in '68. Now we all know this logo, or we all have seen it somewhere at a certain moment in our lives. So I'm not going to talk about the logo on itself, but what's interesting about this logo is that it's not designed as with the idea of a normal logo. And what I mean by that is that this logo, or any logo for an event, is different than a logo for a company, because a logo for a company is used or is designed to use for a couple of years. Now the Mexico logo, or any event logo, has an expiry date, and here it's explained in the book, and I'm going to read it for you guys. Soon after the games, the Mexico '68 logo was officially retired, similar to the other logo types that brand major global events, like for example World Cups, Expos, etc. And unique amongst design solutions, the expiry date is disclosed on the logo, like Mexico '68, España '82, LA '84, Euro '96, France '98, etc, etc. So what's interesting here is that by reading this, it makes you think, because as I said, if we design a logo, we think, well, this logo has to represent a company for a very long time, but logos are also created for short events that don't last well for a lot of time. So it's interesting to think about it, if there is a difference in logos that are created for short usage or logos that are created for long-term usage. And that is also what I like about this book, because when you read about these logos, the idea behind it, or the meaning of these logos, it makes you think. So that is what I like this book. That is what I like about this book, and that is also the reason why I have to rethink my idea of the book. This book is generally a good book. So I was wrong about it. My first thought was not correct, so I had to rethink it. And I'm curious about you guys. How do you feel about this book? Do you think it is interesting or not? Please let me know. You can do that in the comments below. Next week I'll upload another video, so I guess I'll see you guys back then. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.